This video is not intended to pass judgment on anyone else. I am not God. I cannot tell you how to live your life. I am also not a perfect woman. However, I think that the girls, okay, women, y'all here? Are y'all here in the chat? We need to have a conversation, okay? A real one. Are we sexually objectifying ourselves as women? Ooh, woo. I already see some people exiting out the video, but please just hear me out. Let's try to have an open-minded discussion because I really want us to incorporate more logic in some of the conversations that we have and not approach discussions like this from a place of judgment or from a place of just being super defensive and not being receptive to feedback or criticism that people may be giving us or trying to give us that could be helpful, but we just don't listen, you know? So this video was inspired by my girl Meg Thee Stallion, her challenge on social media. I think it was called the Shake That Challenge, but either way, it was a challenge where she was twerking, all the girls was twerking. She brought them out. She brought out the heavy hitters. And I'm not gonna lie, I am no better than the man because she was shaking and I was looking.
He don't wanna be saved, don't save him. That is not my nigga, don't claim him. By 20 missed cows, he faded. White boy wasted, Channing Tatum.
You know, a lot of people, even though they can admire the art of her assets, a lot of people took issue with this display of twerking, hot girl-ish behavior on social media because they feel like it sets a negative example, it stereotypes Black women, and just makes us look bad. And you know, I can't say that I fully disagree. I do think that it does perpetuate stereotypes of Black women being overly sexual or handling ourselves in a ratchet manner. But I can also say that this is an example of the unprivilege of being a Black woman. There are a lot of women of other races who twerk online, who have an OnlyFans, and whenever they do it, it's not attributed to their race. They're not seen as a representative for their race. It's just attributed to women, right? These modern women this, these modern women that. But when a Black woman does something, it's, oh, Black women. You're making Black women, that specific niche, look bad. So I get that. I totally get that. I don't think anybody can deny that. So I think that as a Black person in general, you have to decide if you are going to display yourself in a way that makes you a role model for your culture, or you're just gonna live your life, do whatever you want. You don't really care about the repercussions of it because you don't care about upholding the standards of your culture. And I think that's something for everybody to decide. You might need to reflect on that as well. But I will say this, as a general rule of thumb, I think that we should all be consciously aware of how we want to be perceived. And then we also should be consciously aware of the way that we are displaying ourselves. And we have to figure out if those two things align with one another. Yes, it is absolutely your right, your autonomy to go online in a bathing suit and a thong, twerk, take sexy photos for hundreds or thousands of likes because that's what you want to do. But at the same time, understand that you will be perceived as the woman who goes online half naked, who takes sexy photos or twerks for hundreds or thousands of likes. I know that social media is an illusion, but at the same time, what we publicly display, that's a reflection of us. And I know a lot of people might try to tussle with that sentiment, but it's what it is. For a lot of people, social media is the first impression that they're gonna have of you. Make sure that you are presenting yourself in a way that if people see that for the first time, you're comfortable with the judgments that they might pass upon you. But you see, this is the disconnect when we start talking about sexual objectification. Women, my sisters, my kinfolk, women sometimes have a delusional perspective of how actions and consequences work. Sometimes we present ourselves in a way where it might make sense for people to judge us in a certain way based on those actions, but we fought them for that. And for some people, it's like, well, if it talks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, is probably a duck. Am I making sense? Let me give y'all an example of what I'm talking about. Johnny Blaze. Johnny Blaze is an extremely talented musical artist. She has a beautiful voice. She plays several instruments. She is super underrated, super underrated. I really wish that the music industry would give my girl her flowers because she has the talent. She hasn't been pushed to the mainstream. But the first time I saw Johnny Blaze was on Love and Hip Hop. And the main thing that I remember about her is that she was very sexual in the scene with Rich Dollaz.
How sorry?
Like, that's sorry.
What's that? Yo, are you playing pussies with me right now under the table?
Can I show you how sorry?
How sorry are you?
Like, really, really sorry.
What?
Sorry.
Like, you got drawers on, Johnny Blaze.
The image that I got of her is that, oh, she's a very sexual person. She has this talent, but she's got the body. Like her body is wapow, wham, wham, thank you, ma'am, is there. The body is bodying. It felt like that overshadowed the talent that she has. Now fast forward to 2024, Johnny Blaze does the Meg Thee Stallion twerk challenge on social media, and she gets a lot of attention for it. I mean, the thing is thangin'. It's thangin'. And then she makes a post and she says, hey, I know a lot of you guys are following me from the Meg Thee Stallion challenge, but by the way, I have talent. I'm a great artist, I play instruments, and she starts trying to redirect the attention of these viewers to her substance, which is her musical talent. Don't blame her for that, not at all. But the problem is that a lot of those people already wrote her off as the girl with the body who twerks on social media, has a lot of sexual energy. That's why I'm following you. I'm not following you trying to hear about your music. That's not what I came for because that's not what you presented. This is what I mean when I say that a lot of women sexually objectify themselves. We subconsciously, consciously understand that wearing sexy attire, posting suggestive photos, whatever the case may be, gives us attention. And we like attention. Even though we know that, we try to make people feel like they are in the wrong for responding to the display of our sexual body parts, our sexual attractiveness. I'm trying to think of a way to say it. They respond to us exposing our body parts, presenting ourselves in that way, and then we get mad at the fact that they are looking. But what else am I supposed to look at? Isn't that why you're showing it in the first place? And once we put ourselves into that category, the category of woman who leads with sexual energy, who leads with our physical attraction, it's hard to escape from that because from the person receiving that energy, it's like, okay, well, if she's leading with that, is it because she doesn't have anything else to offer? Is she not confident in the other things that she has to offer? I just don't know if we fully think that through when we have this mindset of, oh, I'm liberated, I could do what I want, I could sleep around, this is my sexuality. It is your sexuality, but own your sexuality and the consequences that may come along with it. And that's where the disconnect is. I think that I might get canceled. Example number 2 of this, okay? Recently went to a Nicki Minaj concert, and baby, when I tell you the girls were out, they were out. The titties was out, the booty was out. We had women in lingerie, fishnet stockings, see-through clothing. It was just a lot of skin. It was everywhere. Do your thing, show out, sis, you know, whatever. I distinctly remember these 2 women walking, and this one girl was one of the ones who had her butt completely out, like booty the cuff hanging outside of the shorts. Like you saw everything. And so this man is walking behind her. Of course, he's a man. His eyes are gonna look at this nice ass that's in front of him, and he tries to talk to the girl. The other woman who's with her is like, no, don't you talk to her. She's only 17 years old. And the man was like, oh, my bad. Like, you know, I didn't know. And I'm witnessing this whole thing, and I'm like, let's be for real. First of all, she's 17 years old, and the body did not look like she was 17 years old. Okay, I'll say that. But you have it exposed, and you're mad when people look at her or try to talk to her. What were you expecting out of that situation, and why did you let her walk out of the house looking like that if she's a minor? The presentation did not match the way that she or her cousin, sister, whoever she was, wanted her to be perceived. And that's the point of all of this. I am 100% aware, before y'all come at me in the comments, that you can go outside fully clothed and men will still be men and try to talk to you. And sometimes they'll say perverted things. I get that, I've been there. With that in mind, does it make sense to walk out half dressed with even less clothing and think that you're gonna get a different response? And I know that sucks. You know, ideally we could wear whatever we want to wear. People wouldn't harass us. They will respect us, but that's not the way the world works. The way that we think things should be sometimes is like fairy tale. That's not reality. If we meet a man for the first time and he's looking at women, catcalling them, commenting on them, you're automatically going to come to the conclusion that he's a fuckboy. He's not somebody that you would take seriously. He doesn't respect women. You don't need to know anything about his background because you've seen enough. That first impression mattered. First impressions matter. So anyway, I say all of this to say that your sexuality as a woman is your own, and you decide how you want to navigate that. However, keep in mind that for every action, there is a reaction. For every action, there is a consequence. Sometimes as women, we do without thinking. And then after time passes and we see the consequences, then we kind of go back and be like, dang, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And that's fine. You know, I've been there. I've made a lot of mistakes. Life is a lesson. But knowing that, I think that we should be a little bit more vocal, a little bit more intentional about calling out things that might be detrimental to other women further down the line, because we have that wisdom. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you on the next video. Oh, don't say that, man. Bye.